A new school year means a fresh start. For families that are looking for a new path to help their child succeed, K-12 could be the perfect fit. K-12-powered schools offer tuition-free, accredited, online public education for students in kindergarten through 12th grade. They know learning isn't one size fits all and will meet your child where they are. K-12 has been a leader in online education for over 25 years. They provide everything a student needs to feel safe, motivated, and thrive in their learning environment. With flexible education options tailored to each child's needs, interests, and goals for the future. K-12's dedicated teachers are trained in virtual instruction and provide real-time support. Plus, students will belong to a vibrant online community with opportunities for extracurricular activities to help them connect with peers and explore interests, all in a setting that works for your family. See how K-12-powered schools can help unlock your child's full potential. Enroll online today at k12.com/FWD. That's the letter K, the number 12.com/FWD. K12.com/FWD.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Yay Networks.
Thanks for listening to the Chatty Daddies. We're off this week, so we pulled some of our favorite segments from the show from this past year. And I gotta say, it's pretty hard to believe that we've actually been doing this podcast for over a year now. And that's all thanks to listeners like you.
You're listening to the Chatty Daddies podcast.
Well, boys, should we attempt to tackle one of the most controversial parenting topics that we face in 2020, which is spanking.
Spank.
All right.
So
Spank
who was spanked as a child? I was.
I
Big
was
time.
As
well. When was the last time you were spanked? What age?
I was 10. I think I was in 5th grade last time I got a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying probably. I mean, it couldn't have gone past 6th grade, did it? I mean, 6th, maybe 7th grade if I was like, no, it had to be like 6th grade, I bet.
15 years old, and I 100% deserved it.
How'd you get, was it with a belt or just the hand straight to the butt?
It was just the hand. I was being a real smart ass. And just sitting there, eating a cracker. My mom was talking to me, just eating crackers. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, if you're going to act like a child, I'm going to treat you like a child. Bend over. And you did?
Classic response from a parent.
And got a big old smack. Nothing. Just stone-faced. Nothing. Didn't let her know. Didn't let her know it hurt.
Oh, no. The rule is when you get spanked, and my friends and I would talk about this, is you got to act like you're in agony so they stop.
Yeah. You got to LeBron it and just flop. You got to flop on the court and just... Like you are in the World Cup finals, and this is this flop could save the game for your team. You have to just go all out.
So we've all been spanked as children. Do you think that it had any kind of effect on your decision to spank your child or not?
I would say personally, no with me.
I was never spanked to the point. At least in I'm not a therapist. I've never seen a therapist. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been spanked so bad that like it psychologically damaged me to where I think spanking is bad. Because I've spanked my kids before, or I spanked my son. I haven't spanked my 1.5-year-old daughter, but I have spanked my son a few times, and. Yeah. Anyways, you guys finish your thoughts before I move on.
Well,
I have other things I want to say.
I think that I will be the enforcer in the household. I don't want the children to think of Kara as a... Ooh, I just said plural. Does that mean... Anyway.
Yeah.
That she will play that back whenever she starts to want a second kid. She will play that back for sure. But I think I will be the enforcer. I think that it's... good for the kid to not see the mother as scary whenever they should be bonding.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you a spanking example from my mom? I don't remember how old I was, but my mom spanked me once. I don't know what I did, but I'm sure I deserved it. And I laughed at her when she spanked me.
Doesn't your son do that to you sometimes?
He has. Yeah, he has. Sometimes he says he wants to be spanked, which that's another converstion for a different show, I think.
Interesting.
But
Gosh, I can see. I see ping pong paddles and whips in his future.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I definitely had a spanking that hurt when my dad got home from work a few hours later. So.
All right. So Nick, you do spank. JC.
So my wife and I had this conversation before Kaysen was born, where we, where do we sit with spanking and everything. I told her, we both grew up with getting a little swat on the butt from time to time if we needed it, and I told her, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll see what it's like and what happens with their personalities. And I remember the first time I got close to spanking Kaysen was when he was in kindergarten. He escaped all his toddler years. I mean, I'm talking about a spank. I swatted him a couple times when he was little, right? Just to let him know, hey, stop. But this was my first time I was going to spank him with the pants down and give him a good one on the butt. Because he
with or without a belt.
I had busted out the belt and I did that snap that our parents used to do. You remember?
Sure.
Oh, so terrifying.
Yeah, the snap. I mean, you could do that to me when I was a kid and I would straighten up every single time. I never required the actual belt to hit me. That snap alone would set me straight. So I would use that from time to time. And one time my son gave in to one of these kids at school. This kid taught him a bad word. And Kaysen wrote that bad word on a piece of paper to another boy. To the boy that taught him it, and put it in his little locker. Well, the teacher found it and handed that piece of paper to my wife at the end of school and said, hey, I just wanted you to know Kaysen had this in his locker, in a friend's put it in a friend's locker. And we got home and I opened that thing and it said the kid's name, URA, and it was the B word. And then he wrote and then he wrote another sentence, like they're trying to razz each other. And I get it. You're boys. They're starting to try to be boys.
Yeah.
And so there's another sentence after that. So my issue with Kaysen was, by the way, everything was misspelled on that piece of paper except the bad word. The B word.
No.
Except that. And to be honest, let's be honest here. That word is actually not an easy word to spell. I mean, there's a TCH on there. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on.
Very hard concept. Yeah.
And so I asked him, I'm like, dude, because that's not a word I tend to use. My go-to word is the S word. That's mine. So if he would have written that, he got that from me probably. And I said, where do you learn this from? Like, you even wrote it perfectly and correctly. And you know what? Your teacher found it. Now, that's embarrassing for us, and you're going to have to learn a lesson. And he was defiant, just the way he was defiant about it. I said, people get in trouble for this stuff. And I grabbed my belt and I saw the fear in his eyes. And I said, my mom would have hit me so hard in the butt for this. And so you're going to get one, just one. So lay down on the bed and pull your pants down. And he laid down on the bed and he pulled his pants down and I saw him clenching his butt. And something in me just took over and I just felt all this rush of emotion. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I can't hit a kid with a belt. Like, I can't do that. I couldn't do it. So I said, Kaysen, I'm going to show you something real quick. Sit up. And I made him sit up. And I hit the belt as hard as I could on the bed. And I said, next time you do something bad, next time if you steal something ever, or if you say a bad word in front of a lady like that, or if you do something like this at school again, that is going to go on your butt. Do you understand? And he said, yes, sir. And he cried. He walked out of the room. I kind of teared up. I don't know why. It was one of those like close call moments. I teared up just because I felt bad that I scared him, and I didn't hit him. But ever since then, he's been an outstanding citizen in the classroom. He hasn't done any of that. So I haven't had the need to spank Kaysen.
You showed weakness. Yeah. You showed you're not the alpha anymore.
Right? I feel like I did, man. I'm like, and Chloe, on the other hand, she's actually been such a, and I want to knock on wood, she's been such an easy kid that I've never even had to threaten spanking her, or even I've never even swatted Chloe's butt, just because I think I got so freaking lucky with Chloe that I haven't had the need to do that. But I'm not against it.
Well,
if
good.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I'm at the point where I'm down with an over the pants swat on the butt, and plenty hard depending on the need for getting his attention.
Yeah, right.
But I don't think that I'm down for the bare butt, hand or belt or anything. I think it stops with on the butt, over the clothes, and hard enough but not ridiculous.
Now, we'll say this, though, Trey. You'll find yourself doing a lot of talking, too. You'll be like, oh, it's gonna happen. You're going to get it. You're going to do a lot of talking. But when it comes down to it, it's literally one of the hardest things to do because you don't know if it's right or wrong.
Gotcha.
That's what I always feel when it comes to that.
So I did a little research in preparation for this.
Oh. Yeah.
And
Did you do any research,
despite
JC?
lots of
Totally not.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, the responsible one.
Yes, and I'll give you another really responsible thing here in a second. Despite the overall general tone of spanking and how a lot of people disagree with it, 1 in 6 parents still spank their kids, quote, sometimes. 4% of those people do it often. This is according to a 2015 Pew Research survey. African-American parents spank more often than white parents. Parents who spank usually are poor and less educated than parents who never spank. So there seems to be a cultural as well as ideological divide there.
Wow.
And a lot of parents who spank, there's like kind of a big difference in spankers. There's people who like that is the first response to a kid acting up. The kid whines once, boom, you get a spanking. Mm-hmm. Or other people are like, this is the last resort. I'm only going to spank my kid like twice in their life. Those are that type of parent too.
The nuclear deterrent.
Right.
Yes. So kind of we had planned on doing this thing about this podcast about spanking, but my wife had been listening to an audiobook that now I'm listening to. And this is the first time, everybody, I am reading/listening to a parenting book. I don't know if I get an award for that, for waiting too long to read a parenting book or what. But so it's a book. It's called No Drama Discipline, and it's been in parenting circles for a long time. And because our 3.5-year-old, he's really stubborn. He acts up a lot. And, I was kind of the kid that acted up a lot. So I see a lot of myself in him. I think what he's going through is probably fairly common for the most part, because I told my wife, they don't write parenting books because one kid in the whole history of the world is bad. It's because there's millions of kids that are bad.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And so their basic principle in this book, which I do agree with, basically they say spanking is not worth it. It doesn't do anything. But they say discipline is about teaching, not punishing. And a lot of parents get that backwards, especially when it's in the heat of the moment. Your kid throws a toy at your face, your immediate reaction is to punish them, right?
Yeah.
When really you hope to teach them not to do it, so, and they I've only listened to 2 or 3 chapters of this book, and I've gotten some good stuff already, but their big thing is, spanking is going to drive a wedge between the parent and the child, when what you want to do is have that open dialogue and communication so that when they have calmed down, when you've removed them from the situation, when they're ready to listen, then they'll be able to talk with you about their feelings. Because when you spank them in the heat of the moment, when you punish them or give them a timeout in the heat of the moment, they're not listening to you. They're not learning or understanding what's going on because they're so emotional. So just by you yelling and wagging their finger at them, it's not really doing anyone any good. And so they also say that when a parent spanks a kid or when they're sitting in timeout, if it happens right after they throw a car at your face, they're not thinking about what they just did. They're just thinking about how mean mommy and daddy are.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not, because they're so flustered and in the heat of the moment, they're upset they can't go watch their TV show. And that's what they're focusing on. They're not focusing on how to learn from this. And so a lot of it sounds like a lot of hippie mumbo jumbo to me so far. But I can get down with this. I kind of understand it. And they divide the brain of human into two different parts, the upper brain and the lower brain, or the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain.
Yeah.
Upstairs brain is like the logical thinking, where like right now we're having a discussion, we're using our upstairs brain, we're trying to learn and understand. But like if it's the heat of the moment, when you want to spank your kid, that's the downstairs brain, and that's the part of your brain that's like fight or flight. That's the aggressive side of your brain. So like if the kid is doing something bad where they would need a spanking or something, they're already in their they're in their downstairs brain, their reptilian brain.
Right.
So when we go in and like react and we're all angry and we're yelling at them, we're also using our downstairs brains. And so like nothing good is happening for either the parent or the kid. And so that's kind of an interesting way to see it. And so I'm kind of starting to come around to that. And, you know, like, I hope I have spanked my kid, but I want to think there's a better way than that. I don't want to hit my kid, you know?
So this is a really cool conversation I had around that time where I almost had that moment with Kaysen. And I truly feel, Nick, that if I would have gone through with the spank on that day with Kaysen, my relationship with him could have probably gone a different route than it is now, right? Right now we have a really cool son and son-father relationship. But I think if that would have happened, he would have, like you said, thought about how mean daddy is, and it would have...
Yes.
His feelings would have been different. And then, so I was talking to this lady who's a therapist. She's a child therapist. I wasn't in a consultation or anything. I just happened to run across her or come across her. And I think it was just divine intervention because it was pretty much around the time that happened. And we were talking about kids, and she said, hey, somehow we were talking about spanking. And she says, she told me, have you ever spanked your kids? And I told her, I was like, I've swatted a couple times, you know, a couple times when they had diapers on, they got a swat. And she goes, how'd you feel after? And I said, I felt awful. You know, you feel awful. They cry. Sometimes you cry. It was not a good feeling. And she goes, perfect. Have you ever had a conversation with your kid after they did something wrong where you guys both calm down and then you go in and talk to them afterwards and you share your feelings? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I do that more often than not, right? And she says, how'd you feel after that? And I said, I felt good. I felt great. I felt like we made progress. And she goes, so why don't you just do the talking instead of the hitting? And there was something as simple as that conversation that just kind of opens your eyes. It's like, yeah, you treat your relationship with your kid the same way you treat your relationship with your wife or with a friend. You get mad at them, take your time to calm down, go sit down in a room, let them sit in a room, let their frontal lobe chill out and get back to normal. You get yours back to normal and then have a conversation.
I'm looking to breed a thoroughbred UFC fighter. So
let me just start hitting.
The literature says on that.
If you're listening to the Chatty Daddies, that probably means you have a kid at home, and watching your little one learn and grow is really one of the best feelings in the world. But finding the right toys to help them grow and learn can be really challenging, and that's what led us to Love Every. Love Every's play kits are designed by experts for your child's developing brain. Each play kit is tailored to your child's exact learning stage, so they have the right toys for the right time. With new play kits delivered every few months that grow with your child. Love Every's play kits come with unique, one-of-a-kind activities and playthings that are built to endure plenty of play. My daughter's absolute favorite toy that she got from Love Every is the Pinkies Up picnic set. It comes with everything that a little girl is going to need to have a picnic with her toys. It's got cups and plates and more, and it's all in this really cool basket, and she can't put it down. My son's favorite thing is the wooden counting box. It helps him learn to count by seeing a number and counting out the correct number of wooden pegs to solve a puzzle. Each play kit is going to come with a play guide that's packed with expert tips and ways to play and do-it-yourself at-home activities that you and your kids are going to love. Take the guesswork out of your child's play. Choose Love Every today and get free shipping when you sign up to receive your play kits at loveevery.com/daddies. That's lovery.com/daddies for free shipping. loveevery.com/daddies. Now we have to move on to a topic that parents will argue about, will cry over, will get frustrated with. It's one of the most intense moments of parenting when you have to figure out crying and what it means, why it's happening, how to get it to stop. There's so much to figure out, and Trey's about to have a new kid here in a few months, so he really needs to know everything there is to know about crying.
Can I ask something from the beginning? Let's just start at the very beginning.
Okay.
When the baby is crying at the very beginning, week 1, that means there is a problem that needs to be solved. Yeah? Or
Usually, I mean,
Yeah,
that's what they say.
Okay.
It means they're cold, they're hungry, and they got a dirty diaper, they're
Okay.
tired.
You feel like it's the easiest part of the babyhood because they're either you need to change the diaper, you need to feed them, or you need to hold them. Mm-hmm. It's basically one of those 3 answers. You could try those 3 things over and over again, and it should alleviate some of the crying, at least.
And so we fast forward how long before I start having to decipher crying sounds and figure out what's going on?
You know, you'll figure out your own kid. Eventually, you'll see what they like, what they don't like. You know, if it's in the middle of feeding time or if feeding time just ended and they're crying, well, maybe they want some more milk. You know, if it's the middle of the night and they're crying, maybe they just need to be soothed again to go to sleep.
Or they're gassy.
Or they're gassy. Or they need a new diaper. So I think by the time they're like 4 or 5 months, you've probably figured out, and you'll get your kid on somewhat of a schedule at that point of how long, when they feed and for how long, and then when nap time is. So they'll kind of get on a schedule. So you'll start to learn a little bit more about their routine and everything like that. And, you know, JC, I don't know about for you, but for me, and the problem with a ton of parents is crying at night.
Yeah.
It's we did the cry it out method.
Okay.
Or at least
You try it.
I tried it. I Googled cry it out method before we talked about this and realized we did the cry it out method completely wrong. So the cry it out method is, at least what I thought, is the baby cries. You don't go into the room at night so that it sleeps. It learns to self-soothe and calm down. So that's a misconception. Apparently, the person that started the cry it out method is you let them cry for a little bit and then soothe them. And then the next time, let them cry a little longer and then soothe them. And then over a few days, you just kind of build up your time for when you go in there. For me, I never read any parenting books. I never looked at anything. I thought it was just, you let them cry and we don't go in there. And that's what we did, and it ended up working fine for us. It's a not fun, maybe week. But anyway, so I guess we were doing it wrong. It still worked for us, but...
We tried the cry it out, and both my kids were different. So my son was born first, and so I had no experience with kids, and he was a terrible sleeper. I mean, just god awful. He would go to sleep pretty easily, but he would wake up every 2 hours starting at midnight for the first year of his life. Mm-hmm. And we screwed up because I realized that he just wanted to be around us. And so we would start, either cuddling with him on the couch or on his little chair, or we would eventually, as he got older, bring him into the bed, and that would help us sleep.
Right.
But he is 8 years old now and still tries to sneak into our bed.
Oh, I was that kid too.
Right. So
I was too. I tried to sneak in all the time.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, and a lot of parents say, "Oh man, it's annoying. My kid goes into my bed." I like it. I actually don't mind it. I like that my son is there from time to time. I don't know why. I just like it. I know eventually he'll move out with a girlfriend and he'll get to sleep in her bed. And so we didn't really. We tried to cry it out a couple times. It got to the point where he almost would puke on himself because he was crying so much. So we couldn't do the cry it out. My daughter, on the other hand, she was the crier that would cry, and I would just have to go in there and basically hold her until she fell asleep and put her back down.
Right.
And she would sometimes wake up, and I would let her cry and I would count for 5 minutes. And if she was quiet before 5 minutes, it was done. If she was still crying after 5 minutes, I would go in there and basically scratch her back until she fell asleep. Mm-hmm. And now my daughter is 6 years old, and I still have to scratch her back. So there's these things that I feel like they adapt and they adopt these things at the same time, where you're going to continue to have to do whatever you do as a baby, they need it when they're older as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When I was doing more of this research on the cry it out method, which again, I was doing completely wrong, whenever you do go back in to soothe the kid, they say, don't pick the kid back up. Just leave the kid in the bed. But like what you did, JC, is like scratch their back, say I'm here, maybe sing them a song, and then leave.
And I wish I would have done that with my son, because my son I would pick up every time. I wish I would have done what I did with my daughter with my son, because I think we would have our bed to ourselves now and not have a grown man in there.
Was there one parent that was more strict about the letting them cry it out? Was there somebody that wanted to run to the kids' room immediately?
Well, at first you both want to.
Yeah.
Depending on how tired you are, you pretend like you're asleep and hope the other one gets up. Swear that happens. Both parents do it
all the time.
Yeah. I think whatever y'all decide to do in life, you guys have to be on the same page and consistent, because if baby knows one of you guys is going to come in there, they'll just cry till one of you come in, And it's the same thing of asking to watch a TV show after dinner. If mommy doesn't like that, but daddy's cool with it, they know where to go to get the TV show. So you guys both just have to be on the same page,
right? And
figure out what works best for y'all.
And I am a psychological mess, to be honest with you. I have ADD. I have insecurities. I also think I'm the smartest person in the room. It's a real weird combination in my head. But I wonder how much of this all stems back to being a young child. Did my mom and dad pick me up whenever I cried? Did they not? Do you worry about the psychological effects?
Yes, all the time, dude. I feel like every time I do something wrong as a parent, it's going to end up with my son or daughter going to jail.
How do you know what's wrong?
I don't. You don't.
That's my biggest problem is I don't know what happened to make me the crazy person that I am. I'd like to fix it, but I have no idea if I'm doing the same thing to them.
You're not going to know at first. You may think, oh, I know my kid, they're hungry right now. And you try giving it some milk and, well, that's not it. Now let's change the diaper. Well, that's not it. Now let's just bounce them up and down or take them for a walk in the stroller. Maybe that'll calm them down. You'll try several things until you get to whatever is at the moment messing them up.
Right.
But there's been several studies on the cry it out method, and they say there's no proof that letting them cry it out, doing it the correct way, I guess, letting them cry it out. A lot of parents think that their kid's going to hate them. This is such an important time in baby and parent relationship that you don't want to make it a bad experience their first year of mommy and daddy's not protecting me. They don't love me because I'm crying. I need them. Where are they? But they say there's no proof that there's any negative effects on that. A study found that babies sleep trained with the cry it out method have less cortisol, a stress-linked hormone. They have less cortisol than those trained with other methods. So they're a little bit more calm.
Yeah.
So wait,
cool.
The sleep training method, the cry it out method resulted in less cortisol?
Correct. Which means less of the stress hormone.
Right.
Than people who did other things.
Okay. That sounds like a real pro, because that sounds like the best way to go about it then, because cortisol is going to just make you miserable.
And anxious and everything that goes into cortisol.
I feel like my cortisol levels up at all times.
Yeah. So, and that's just, again, the pros of this one study. You can find 100 different ways to make your baby fall asleep or to get them on the right schedule, whatever it is. You'll just have to find out what's best for you.
But this will happen, Trey. There will be a time where the baby is crying and your wife will start crying and you guys will be laying in the bed just maybe both crying at the same time, asking yourselves, why did we have children? That's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But trust, I feel like kids, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't know this, but I feel like kids are already born with the way their brain is going to be, right? It's going to turn into this. This is their personality. This is how they're going to be in stressful situations.
Really?
I feel that way. But I feel like as a parent, we help, lower some of that down the way we treat them. So as long as I tell my kids I love them every single day, every moment, like all the time. I'm telling them I love them all the time. I'm always constantly hugging them and giving touch. Because just in case they are more prone to be depressed or more prone to feel anxiety, which I do see in one of my kids, I want them to feel that safety. So, if compared to if I yelled at them all the time or if they were hit or whatever, then that would probably enhance, whatever feeling they're having in their brain. That's just the way I feel like their little brains work, because I've brought my kids both the same way. I brought them up the same way, and they are completely different,
Yeah.
The Chatty Daddies Podcast.